Among the many mysteries that dot Italy in the 1980s, one of the most mysterious remains the accident of the Itavia Flight IH870, operated with a DC-9 aircraft. The incident on June 27, 1980, is known in Italy as the Ustica Massacre, because it occurred in the stretch between the Italian islands of Ponza and Ustica, in the southern Tyrrhenian Sea. Among the many hypotheses formulated, the two most accredited are the involuntary downing by a NATO military jet in an aerial war scenario with Libyan MiG planes, and a bomb on board, but to this day the causes of the incident have not been found. In this video, no opinions will be expressed on the causes of the incident. Instead, the main events related in some way to the Ustica Massacre will be listed, and the viewer will be free to form their own idea. Flight IH870, a DC-9 with registration ITG, departs from Bologna Guglielmo Marconi Airport, headed for Palermo Punta Raisi Airport, at 8:08 p.m., with a delay of almost 2 hours. It follows the Amber 13 airway towards Sicily. The aircraft loses radio contact with the Rome Area Control Center at 8:59 p.m. and disappears from radar while it was at a flight level of FL 250, equal to 25,000 feet, and at a speed of 800 kilometers per hour. The remains of the aircraft are found the next day, 110 kilometers north of the island of Ustica. In the incident, all 81 occupants of the aircraft, including passengers and crew members, die. From the cockpit voice data recorder, recovered after several years at a depth of 3,000 meters, the last words spoken by the co-pilot were, "Look, what is it?" In the search area, an external drop tank from a military aircraft was also recovered, of a type usable only by 4 aircraft, MD F-4 Phantom, Northrop F-5, F-15 Eagle and Vought A-7 Corsair II. The recording from the Marsala Radar Center, which is in a perfect position to detect planes flying over Ustica, is missing due to an incredible coincidence. At the exact moment the DC-9 disappears from the Rome radar, the Marsala Radar Center launches an exercise in which operators are engaged with simulated traffic. Subsequently, during the investigations, no operator on duty at the Marsala Radar Center was able to confirm their participation in the exercise. The data from the Licola Radar Center, the closest to the disaster point, are missing specifically for the day of June 27, 1980. The radar recordings from the Poggio Bologna Air Defense Center are missing. From the analysis of the Rome radar tracks, 2 primary echoes are highlighted that draw a track with a route almost perpendicular to that of the DC-9, considered by the National Transportation Safety Board, NTSB, as the track of an aircraft in flight with a trajectory that intersects the DC-9's route at high speed, about 350 knots, typical behavior of a semi-active radar-guided air-to-air missile attack. It is known that the aircraft carrier USS Saratoga of the U.S. Navy was in the area, although it is not known whether it was at anchor in the Gulf of Naples or offshore in the Tyrrhenian Sea. Rear Admiral James Flatley, commanding the aircraft carrier, states that despite radar maintenance work being underway, one of them was still functioning and had recorded very sustained air traffic in the Naples area, especially in the southern part. In an interview with an Italian journalist, Brian Sandlin, a former U.S. Navy serviceman on the Saratoga in 1980, states that evening, the Saratoga commander informed the crew that F-4 aircraft from the Saratoga had to shoot down 2 Libyan MiGs that were apparently preparing to attack them. The Russian General Yuri Salimov, in the Russian Secret Services, states that he followed the events of Ustica through a Russian radar based in Libya. He states that the Libyan MiGs crossed Italian airspace to reach Yugoslavia, where maintenance was provided to the various Soviet-made MiG and Sukhoi, and that the Italian government tolerated such crossings and disguised them with authorized flight plans so as not to worry the USA. Libyan planes often camouflage themselves in the radar network, positioning themselves at the end of Italian civilian air traffic, thus managing not to alert NATO defenses. A 2-seater TF-104G from the 4th Wing of the Italian Air Force, with 2 instructors, Commanders Mario Naldini and Ivo Nutarelli, returning from a training mission of a student aboard a second F-104 near the Grosseto Air Base at 8:24 p.m., half an hour before the incident, emits a general alarm signal squawk code 73, which means general emergency and not aircraft emergency. Neither the Italian Air Force nor NATO has ever clarified the reasons for that alarm. On July 18, 1980, the carcass of a Libyan Air Force MiG-23 is found on the Sila Mountains in Calabria, with the fuselage visibly pierced by a 20mm cannon, about a month after the DC-9 Itavia incident. Several military personnel on duty in the area at that time claimed to have performed surveillance services on the MiG-23 not in July, but in late June 1980, that is, the day the DC-9 crashed. Other elements are instead interpreted as consistent with the thesis that the plane crashed on July 18. There are 12 suspicious deaths linked to the disaster of Flight IH870, but we want to report only a few. Marshal Mario Alberto Dottori, probably on duty the night of June at the Poggio Bologna radar, is found hanged on March 31, 1987. Months before, worried, he had rummaged through the whole house looking for alleged wiretaps. Colonels Mario Naldini and Ivo Nucciarelli, the two pilots who had launched the general alarm signal from the TF-104G, both die in the Frecce Tricolori incident in Ramstein on August 28, 1988. They were supposed to testify about the Ustica incident. The amount of information related to the Itavia Flight IH870 incident obviously doesn't end here, and it is too vast to be compressed into a simple video. So we leave it to the curious to delve into the topics.